Hi, folks. Welcome to India to Germany. I'm your host, Paras Mehta, and today I'll be speaking with Rutuja Deshkar, who is working as full stack developer at Lofino in Berlin. Just to give you a background, Lofino is a tech startup which allows employers to offer tax free benefits to their employees via a mobile app. Welcome, Rutuja. Thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you, Paris, for inviting me to do this podcast. I would be glad to share details on my journey from India to Germany.
That's great. Thank you. Rutuja, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background?
Yeah, sure. I'm from Nagpur, Maharashtra. I did my bachelor's in electronics and telecommunication from Nagpur University. After that, I got my first job at TCS Mumbai, where I worked as a COBOL developer for European banking clients. I've also worked in Amsterdam for a year in between, and I've also lived in Delhi and Bangalore while working at TCS. Then after that, in Bangalore for a few months, I've also worked for Danske IT, which is a subsidiary of Danske Bank. And then finally, I moved to Berlin in April 2019. So now here I work as a full stack developer at Lufino, which you have already told about. So it's basically a tech startup which allows companies to offer tax-free benefits to their employees via a mobile app.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, and how is it that you came to Germany from India?
Basically, my husband and I, we both made this decision mutually. We both wanted to be in Europe, and so we decided to find jobs in Germany. First, my husband got a job here directly from India, and he moved here with a blue card. And then I joined him after 3 months on a family reunion visa. So the family reunion visa gave me equal rights with regards to working and living here in Berlin.
Okay, so you are you still on the family reunion visa at the moment?
Yeah, I'm still on the family reunion visa.
All right. Okay, that's great to know. Okay, and I mean normally people from India when they travel abroad, they usually their first preference usually is to go to the US or other English speaking countries. Why is it that you chose Germany over other countries?
Yeah, so like I said before, we both always wanted to be in Europe. I have lived in Amsterdam before for work, and my husband has been in Berlin before for work. And we both have traveled within Europe. And so we always wanted to come to Europe. And the main criteria for us while deciding to move to Germany was job prospects, which helped us to narrow it down to Germany. uh, we feel that the job market here is really good as compared to other European countries, and the companies here are really willing to hire talent from abroad. So that's how we decided to move to Germany.
All right, and how would you say has your experience been so far of living and working in Germany?
So I've been living in Germany for more than a year now. To be honest, initially I really didn't like it here because I've lived in Amsterdam for a major time before, and so I was always comparing Berlin with Amsterdam, and I felt that Amsterdam is a lot more maybe cleaner and greener.
Okay.
And yeah, but work culture wise, I feel it is the same. There's a good work life balance, uh, but also with time I realized that the city has its own vibe. And then I joined German class where I met people from different parts of the world. Then I also explored the city and found many things to my liking. So with time, I realized that people here are very welcoming, and one can easily survive even if they don't know German.
All right.
But however, I think it is still a good idea to learn the language if you want to integrate into the society.
Hmm. Okay. That's yeah. That's true. That's true. So, at the moment, in your current role, you're working as a full stack developer, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So, and how is it that you So, you were working with COBOL earlier, and how did you move from that role to become a full stack developer?
Yeah, so after moving to Berlin, I actually did some research on the job prospects here. I went through blogs and I talked to a lot of friends, and then I found out that there are a lot of opportunities, and there's a lack of skilled people in the IT sector in Germany. And then I also found out that people are the companies are really willing to hire people from other countries. And I always wanted to move away from Kabul. I've worked as a Kabul developer for almost 6 years, and I always had a wish to learn how to build web applications. And wanted to gain some experience in front end and learn how the back end and front end work together as a system. So I also did some research on LinkedIn and Glassdoor and other websites to find the typical skills that are needed for becoming a web developer. And I got to know from some of my friends that there are also web development boot camps. And I found out about a boot camp called Lee Wagon, and then I decided to join that. So it was a 9 weeks boot camp where I gained experience in web development with programming languages such as JavaScript and Ruby. And then after that I started looking for opportunities uh, in the web development to work as a web developer.
Okay,
And
so
yeah, sorry. And soon, within a couple of months, to my surprise, I found a job here at Lufino, and I'm working as a full stack developer. And I really didn't think that I would find a chance to switch technologies so easily, because I didn't have any real experience working as a web developer. Um but to my surprise, it all went quite well, and I'm really enjoying this now.
that's nice. And like, what exactly is it like to work as a full stack developer? So if I were to ask you what a typical day in the life of a full stack developer look like, what would you say?
Um, Okay, yeah. So as a full stack developer at Lufino, uh, I would say so we work in agile teams. So basically, we start with the daily stand up where we everybody shares about what they did yesterday and what they're working on today, and if there are any challenges. And we also have like weekly calls with the product owner or sometimes with other stakeholders to discuss about the new requirements. And as far as the languages or technologies that we are using, so as a full stack developer at Lafino, we work with front end, uh, so which is basically built using React framework. We also have backend, which is Node.js. We also have a back office, which is built on Angular framework, as well as we have a mobile app, so we use React Native for that.
Okay, so you use basically JavaScript through and through for backend, front end, and mobile.
Yeah, so we extensively used JavaScript. So basically, we use TypeScript. Yeah, and use it extensively for development.
That's great. Okay. And for infrastructure and all, is it like hosted in the cloud or?
Yes, so we use Amazon Web Services for that.
All right. Okay. Great. And on the more on the professional, like the working side, what do you think about work life in Germany?
I really like the work culture here. Like I mentioned it before, I was very surprised to know that companies are really open to hiring people even if they don't have an IT background or previous experience in the same field, but they are willing to learn. And I also know many people who did courses on their own or they did a boot camp just like me and found a job here. Also, an advantage here is that if you are working in startup, you get a lot of freedom to explore things. And I also feel that people value their work time as much as their personal life. And also, people at work, they are considerate and understanding, and one need not hesitate to discuss anything with them.
That sounds great. Okay, and in terms of like more of just general like social life or living here, what do you think about that?
I think it is really nice. Normally, people think that it is very difficult to communicate if you do not know German, but I feel it is not the case, especially in Berlin, because Berlin is quite international, and most of the people do speak English. And if you explore the city and there are and just talk to people, you or if you just join a German class and you meet new people, and yeah, so I think it is, and you meet new people from different parts of the world, and not everybody speaks German. So I don't think it is very difficult to connect with people.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Actually, yeah, that's one of the main concerns when one thinks of moving to Germany from India, right? The language barrier. But that's already very good to know that, yeah, at least in cities like Berlin, it's that's not an issue.
Yeah, because Berlin is so international, so language is not really a barrier in Berlin. That's what I feel.
Okay, that's great to know. And as an Indian, like living here and working here in Germany, do you feel that you faced and have you faced like have you felt like there are any advantages or disadvantages or difficulties that you faced?
Yeah, so actually, there's a lot of paperwork that you have to do in Germany, and I feel dealing with bureaucracy without any knowledge of German can be challenging. But I think you can always find people who speak German to accompany you. I also know of some groups on Facebook where one can ask German speaking people to accompany you for paperwork and in return for a very reasonable hourly fee.
Okay, that's very nice of them actually.
Yeah, so you can always ask for help from people and they are willing to help you.
So have you used this service yourself or?
Yeah, yeah, we have done that. And that's how, that's how we got to know about. So, one of the friends suggested us to look for something like this on Facebook, and we found out a group, and that's how we came to know about the service.
Okay. And what would be your advice to fellow Indians who are looking to basically find work in Germany and build a career here?
Well, I think, as I said before, the job market here is really good, and there are a lot of good opportunities, and it is also a good place to be in if you're looking for work-life balance. Also, as an employee here, you have a very good job security. There are also a lot of other things that you can do, that you can explore in the city. There are a lot of hobbies that you can take, which is sometimes not possible in India. My only advice would be to prepare yourself well and do some research before moving here.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. And so specifically for web development jobs, how would you suggest one should prepare for applying for such jobs in Germany?
So I would suggest before applying for jobs, I would suggest acquiring some skills in databases and software development, and then you can always go to LinkedIn or Glassdoor, where you can look for jobs for web developer, and you can typically go through their job descriptions, and you'll get an idea of what are the skills that companies are looking for, and then accordingly prepare yourselves for interviews. Also, there are like really good for somebody who is not a web developer but who wants to move to web development. For them also, there are like very good courses online to learn web development. Also, there are some websites like Lead Code or HackerRank and many more like that, where you can take coding challenges to brush up the basic skills which are needed for backend or front end. And I would also suggest, if you want to get into web development, so JavaScript is one of the um, it is a very common language, and it is mostly in demand, and most of the companies use JavaScript as the programming language. So I would suggest to acquire some skills in JavaScript. Also, for JavaScript, there are like many good online courses on Udemy or Coursera. Also, the MDN documentation for JavaScript is really very good. And especially in Berlin, there are a lot of startups who are looking for junior developers. So I think that could be a good starting point to get into web development.
Okay, and how? and you yourself did a boot camp to get into web development. Do you Would you recommend it? Do you think it's something that, I mean, for the price, that you think added value to your career?
Yes, I definitely feel that joining the boot camp was a very good decision because it basically gave me a basic idea about web development, and I learned JavaScript and Ruby, HTML, CSS, and we had like project weeks during the boot camp where we built a product on. So where we pitched in ideas to build a product, and then we built that product on our own. And basically they also have like career weeks, and there are also a few companies that come to the boot camp, and they have like an informal talk with the student from the boot camp, and they also have a very huge alumni community uh, where you can also get to know about the different openings in Berlin or any other cities. So I think it was a really very good decision to join the boot camp, and yeah,
Oh, that's great. That sounds wonderful. Yeah, thank you very much, Rutuja, for sharing your experiences and insights with us.
yeah. Thank
Um,
you, Paris.
yeah, that's all, folks. Remember to subscribe to our podcast and check out our blog on indiatogermany.com. See you next week.